Hello and welcome to another episode of Child Abuse Awareness with Darlene J. Clark. Be a part of the solution instead of part of the problem. Please hit the thumbs up. Appreciate it. I'm here to bring awareness on different avenues and aspects. Please come in and say hello. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips a balance in favor of fair use. Remember, no matter what, people tell us to be quiet about this. Isaiah 1:17, learn to do right, seek justice, defend the oppressed, take up the cause of the fatherless, be the case of the widow. I hope everyone's having a great day today. I saw this and I said, we got to get this out there. Protect our children from online exploitation. I did not know that yesterday was considered the awareness of keeping our kids safe online. Without further ado, let's go ahead and share the screen. Hope everyone says hello. Okay. The Safer Internet Day helping protect children from exploitation online. The Tuesday was Safer Internet Day, a day observed around the world to help prevent the exploitation of children online. In the United States, the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, a national network of 61 coordinated task forces, released a list of the 10 best practices to help those working with children and family to ensure a child's safety online. Among some of the steps is to take a victim-centered approach and encourage those who have been victims of online exploitation to seek support, to eliminate fear-based messaging, and reflect the online risk, including statistics accurately. In 2023, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, NCMEC cyber tip line, received more than 36 million reports of suspected child sexual exploitation, and the majority of those reports were related to the circulation of child sexual abuse material. Note when you see that abbreviation right there, it stands for child sexual abuse material being circulated online. NCMEC reported that the volume of tips on the cyber tip line has increased by more than 20% over the past 3 years. But the number of time sensitive reports where a child is at risk of harm has grown by more than 140%. You get that? In addition to the NCMEC cyber tip line, there are additional resources out there for those who have been victims of online child exploitation, such as Take It Down. The free online service, which can be used anonymously, is a one-step service to remove content for anyone who has images or videos of themselves nude, partially nude, or in sexually explicit situations taken when they were under the age of 18 that they believe have been or will be shared online. That is good to have, right? The Loudoun County Sheriff's Office released a list of apps parents should be aware of on their children's devices, including Kick, Meet Me, and F3. Among those other concerns, some of the apps on the list can be used to connect with strangers and, in some cases, find people nearby. There's some apps where you can put yourself on the map. A stranger goes to your profile or something like that, and the people think that they're such and such, and they can get your exact destination. It shows the perpetrator exactly where your child is. I hadn't heard from that person that just tried to call in a long time. I just have to call them back. So let me show you right here. I need to go right here and check out this missing person right there because I don't know anything about this. So let me go ahead and open that up right quick. See who this person is. Okay. Knoxville child reported missing, not believed in danger. The Knoxville Police Department was searching for a missing 9-year-old girl who reportedly wandered away from her home believed to be in danger. Mona Wello, 9, was reportedly last seen at her home in Brentway Circle. Police initially asked anyone who may have seen her to call 911. However, a KPD spokesperson wrote in an update shared around 9 p.m. that Joella is believed to be traveling to an out-of-state family member and is not believed to be in danger. Detectives had no reason to believe she is in danger at this time and have been in communication with local authorities, police said. Authorities say nearly 400 people go missing in Tennessee each year. That 5 people for every 100,000. And see, there's a list of people missing from East Tennessee if I clicked on that. Okay. So I clicked on this 10 best practices. So let me show you that. Right. Here is the 10 best practices. This online child exploitation prevention initiative. Follow a victim centered approach. Access the effectiveness of prevention programs and adjust when needed. Minimize or eliminate fear based messages. Reflect online risk accurately. Stay focused on behavioral goals. Encourage a multi pronged approach to prevention. Work and plan collaboratively with the host school or agency to provide internet safety training for staff. Include skill building information about responding to harmful online behavior. Provide internet safety education to parents. Offer additional resources. Follow a victim centered approach. Encouraging victims to seek support should be a central goal of all prevention education. Victims are less likely to reach out for support when the messages blame or shame them. Messaging should indicate that the responsibility for victimization lies with the perpetrator, not the victim. If they can shame the person, say that it's your fault and everything, if somebody's got low self esteem, the poor child, the poor child. Teach your kids, don't fall for that. Remember that audiences may include children and or adults who have experienced victimization. Be prepared for disclosures. Victimization experiences are complex with many dynamics at play. Situations could include peer pressure, romance manipulation or trickery, bullying, extortion, and other power imbalances. The adult or peer's role is to be there to give help and support. Remember, recently I did one on Alyssa McCombs, who was a school teacher here in Tennessee, where she kept sending Snapchat messages to the boys in which she sent nude pictures and stuff. She ended up telling one boy, if you break up with me or something, he was 12-year-old, you break up with me, I'm going to kill myself. She ended up pregnant with a little boy's baby, and she had 2 young kids at home. Example, a child discloses they are a victim of sextortion. It started when they sent a nude image during what they thought was a harmless flirting. Unintended shaming response. You shouldn't have sent nude images to someone you didn't know. Let's figure out what to do next. They know they made a mistake. This type of response puts blame on the victim for being manipulated, something that isn't their fault, and may limit a full disclosure. Victim-centered response here. I'm so glad you asked for help. This individual took advantage of you. Everyone makes mistakes. Let's figure out the next steps together. Yes, that's the way a parent should do or a role model should do. Don't say, well, you shouldn't have never done that. I told you not to do that. Instead, you go like, I'm so glad you asked for help. This individual took advantage of you. Everyone makes mistakes. Let's figure out next steps together, right? Oh, so I gotta, I'm sorry. Two, access the effectiveness of prevention programs and adjust when needed. It is important to access the effectiveness of prevention programs and make changes to the programs as needed. Mechanisms should be put in place to obtain feedback on presentations and presenters to ensure effective and consistent messaging. This may include evaluations from the host agency, supervisor, colleague, observations, and feedback from presenters. It is important to review research on internet safety and prevention and best practices and stay up to date on emergent trends. Sorry, I get tongue tied. Pray for my friend that just called. He's the one in the nursing home. He's got to have surgery Friday. Adapt efforts as appropriate to reflect evolving knowledge and awareness. Utilize various ways to measure effectiveness. Local statistics, disclosures, reports to police, presentation, evaluations, update presentations regularly and frequently. So yeah, some of us who are advocates need to get it there to our schools and think of presentations a little bit. Maybe one thing about this, like the exploitation of our children on the internet. They're even using video game and to bother our kids. Three, minimize or eliminate fear-based messages. For youth who have already experienced harm, fear-based messages can prevent them from reporting and seeking help. Learning about worst case outcomes seldom changes youth behavior because they typically believe it won't happen to them. Instead, share realistic, age appropriate examples to help youth identify risk. Provide actionable steps for a safer online experience. I know that some kids in school have taunted other kids. They had done this and set them up, then passed the kids things around the school, which I think all them kids, something needs to be done to them. Next thing you know, that kid's so embarrassed he commits suicide. For example, if you're being targeted online, remind yourself that you can stop the problem. Tell the person to stop. Take screenshots so that you have a record. Stop communicating. Tell a trusted adult. Remember that telling law enforcement is an option. They can help. Consider addressing fear based messaging with parents as well. You should hear a consistent message from everyone. Remember to emphasize open communication rather than avoidance of technology. The goal is to guide children to be responsible digital citizens on their own. Reflect online risk accurately. Discuss online risk, including statistics, accurately and ensure examples are developmentally appropriate and relevant for your audience, especially like if there's um, a 9-year old, you don't want to tell them something that a 16-year-old should know, okay? You go to the age appropriateness. Focusing on criminal justice consequences may not be age appropriate for young audiences. Instead, focus on social and emotional consequences. And it's illegal behavior. Message can increase barriers to reporting. Frequently update any references and presentations or materials with up to date data or popular apps, games, and websites. Also, stay current on app updates. And by all means, parents, please check your children's devices. You don't know what they're up to and what they have been up to Unfortunately, one of my grandchildren was victimized online. Ensure your messaging relays that children can be victimized by people they know online and offline and by both adults and peers. Recommend statistics come from resources that cite their data sources. Describe the numbers accurately and provide the information without bias. There's some programs on here that even teach young little children, and y'all can look it up. It's My Body is My Body. There's a program out there which people can get a certification. Um, it's even on the YouTube. The song is so you can teach these young children. My body is my body. Stay focused on behavioral goals. Effective messaging will focus on safe behavioral goals, understanding risk and ways to mitigate dangers. Empower kids to use social media for good. Online safety programs should focus on what to do, who to talk with, and how to get help if something scary or harmful happens online. Prepare youth for what can happen, what to do if something scary or harmful happens, how to report, and what to expect when reporting. Encourage bystander intervention and peer support. For example, adults should proactively discuss online safety with youth. Adults should offer to be a resource if an online situation becomes uncomfortable or threatening. Youth audiences can be taught specific interventions to utilize in the moment, such as assertive communication and boundary setting, how to intervene when they witness it, screenshot and report, how to seek support, and what to expect. Encourage a multi pronged approach to prevention. There are many benefits to collaborating with multiple stakeholders when building prevention programs. Consider partners who have an interest in keeping children safe online. It is critical for law enforcement to have community partners such as schools and to share information in relevant places such as social media. Collaboration reinforces your message and increases its effectiveness through quality repetition from credible sources. Use multiple presentation options, including presentations to students, school assemblies, classroom presentations, after school programs, parents and guardians, evening presentations, PTA meetings, and other stakeholders. There's a benefit to engaging your community collaboratively so that your audience and stakeholders will feel like active participants in the mission of keeping children safe online. Include peer messengers. Youth to youth messages can be very powerful. It is important to use correct language to keep kids engaged and reflect the problem appropriately. Be cognizant of the different cultural influences and traditions that may be present in a specific community and how words may need to be adapted slightly. Work and plan collaboratively with the host school or agency to provide internet safety training for staff. Well, we know we can get on the internet also and block some signs, make it parental child proof in some ways, but there's still programs that's with children that some of these bad adults do end up getting to. Hey, Cash. Yeah, so the kids know it. Awesome. I'm so proud of you, Cash. Thanks for sharing that about the hand signal on the Help Me. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that Help Me sign. Appreciate it. That's great news. Know your community, the community where you will present. What will incentivize attendance? Consider time of day, translation services, etc. Prepare the host agency for the presentation with resources and prevention information. Provide guidance to the host organization about the likelihood of disclosures and ensure professional staff have a plan for responding to disclosure and reporting. Encourage schools to incorporate internet safety training into other professional training, such as bullying and mandated child abuse reporting. Child abuse mandated reporting laws may include requirements to report exploitation that occurs online, including technology facilitated abuse, grooming on digital platforms, and other forms of online harm. Regulations and guidelines about reporting online exploitation are addressed specifically in some states, while others address it under broader child abuse and neglect laws. It is important to be familiar with the laws in your state and provide information on reporting procedures accordingly. It's also important to note that these laws are rewritten and amended frequently to be sure to stay up to date on changes in your state. Include skill building information about responding to harmful online behavior. Youth are vulnerable to online harm because of their natural curiosity and interest in building relationships. Presentations must include practical skills that will help children identify and respond to harmful and manipulative behaviors. Include information about positive online behaviors. Include information about risk taking decisions. Provide students with an array of potential responses to harmful and manipulative behavior and provide opportunities to apply or practice the skills. Y'all do role play, okay? That's how you do this. You do got a friend, internet friend on here, and that's what he did with his kid. I mean, she and they already knew about it. Oh, okay. Surprise! I never did. But that's a very well. That's good to know that they already known about that, right? That's very good. I'm so happy to hear about that, Cash. So, what would you do if someone asked you to trade new photos? What are some ways that you can respond or actions you can take? Consider language, message, stranger danger versus tricky people, a friend you know of. Due to online connections, the stranger danger message is less effective. Yeah, in person, like the danger I had was my own parents. You know, there wasn't no stranger danger. They were putting me in the harm's way with us. Provide internet safety education to parents. Parental engagement is crucial for effective internet safety. Internet safety programs should include information resources, guidance, and tips for parents and guardians on how to identify risks, how to respond to disclosures, and how to support youth. A whole family approach to internet safety includes presentations for parents and youth together. Your siblings, y'all have a close connection, okay? Try to get bonded together, get united. So if y'all need help with one another, to give each other feedback too. At times, it might be hard to tell another adult at the time when you can get the help of one of your siblings to help to be able to get the right help. You educate to allow peers and see signs of abuse too. Yes, you educate to allow peers to see signs of abuse too. Some are abused at home. Yes. The other additional resources, effective internet safety should also include making additional resources available, include materials that allow for a deeper dive into the skill building components of internet safety or that address related topics such as healthy relationships, bullying, and intimate partner violence prevention. Information about additional resources for specialized support, helplines, and mental health services should also be provided to host organizations and parent audiences. Consider providing host organizations with an up to date resources list of community resources and national hotlines. Okay, so we're going to go back over here and make sure no one's. Hi there. See, here's Cash. It's so good that you bring this up here. It's so good to see that they already knew the sign of the help me sign. That is wonderful. I appreciate you coming on saying that too. And here is another site that is what is online child sexual exploitation. Online child sexual exploitation refers to the usage of the Internet or communication technologies as a method to facilitate the sexual abuse of children and adolescents. This can take place directly online or through a combination of offline and online interactions. And a lot of times adults can be exploited as well, so be very careful not to fall prey to these people. In a rapidly evolving technological world, children are increasingly connected as they navigate the online environment. However, it also poses a harmful risk because this exposure and increased presence on the internet gives offenders an easy way to reach children. These offenders will misuse online environments to sexually exploit minors. Online child sexual exploitation is difficult to detect because of the different forms of communication, looking at a combination of audio, text, and video content being interlinked, which current technology cannot scan and access. Furthermore, there are the challenges faced by transnational contacts and the implication or lack of legislation. What you have to say? Yes, indeed. There are predators in many areas. Right. What are the examples of online child sexual exploitation? Online child exploitation can affect any child or young person regardless of the gender, age, race, or economic background. Whether you're rich, you're poor, whether you're black or white, yellow, red, anything, any age. Grooming, a tactic offenders use in order to befriend or develop a relationship with a minor in order to gain their trust, lower their inhibitions, and prepare them for sexual activity. This can be done through compliments or by giving gifts or money. Just because somebody's got a profile and you see the profile picture and they're writing you, this does not mean that is the person's picture. So you got to be aware of that and teach your kids that as well. That just because this said person, you know, I also got a friend who knew somebody years ago, and he was talking to her, and I guess she had hacked this other girl's account, and anyway, she contacted my friend and said, "I want to come see you." And so he went ahead and sent her like $25. That ain't much for gas. And so he helped her out and everything. And of course, but it was a scam. It was a fraud. So it was, and so basically, it looked like the same person and everything. That's because her account was hacked. So even some of us adults fall prey at times. The agreement, a tactic offenders use in order to befriend or develop a relationship with a minor in order to gain their trust, lower their inhibitions, and prepare them for sexual activity. This can be done through compliments or by giving gifts or money. Sexual extortion, coercing a victim into producing sexually explicit images or videos through threats, gifts, or manipulation. Sexting, sharing explicit images or videos over text. Yeah, tech was monitored, but also they knew why we were to protect them. We are all vulnerable. That's right. Child sexual abuse material, collection, distribution, shared, or production. Any photos or videos of a child engaged in or depicted as being engaged in explicit sexual activity. Live streaming, when child sexual abuse material is broadcasted live to a viewer through streaming via the internet, offenders pay direct and view this abuse from home. Self generated content, sexually explicit content created by and featuring children below the age of 18. These images can be taken and shared intentionally by minors, but are in many cases a result of online grooming or sextortion. What is the impact of online child sexual exploitation? The child may be too scared or ashamed to share that they were subject to abuse with authorities, but instead with someone close they know. Changes in their mood and or behavior. They may act distant, secretive, sad, depressed. Sudden estrangement from the family. They have received gifts or sums of money from an unknown source. Doesn't show up at home. Is always fatigued and lethargic. Absent from school or has poor performance in the classroom. Has inflicted self harm. There are different types of abuse that occur. The range is not limited to commonly known forms of abuse. Therefore, it's important for individuals to self educate themselves because online and offline abuse have similar mental health implications which can be damaging to the child. So, you as a parent, it's up to you to become aware of all these things which can happen to your kid so you can be prepared on how to handle things. It is your responsibility to be there for the child, to protect the child. Yeah. It's unfortunately a trait of being trustworthy. That's true. That's very true. I had another friend who I was helping the woman more so than her husband, and it was kind of crazy. He would get phone calls, and he was believing this guy that was calling him on the phone that really wasn't his son. Um, and he didn't, well, his grandson, he didn't have any children old enough to have a grandchild the same age as his son. But he was falling prey to this. I cannot believe it, and somebody with a bachelor's degree or master's degree um, would fall prey to believing this caller saying, "Hi, Granddaddy, how are you? Can you send me some money?" It felt weird to me for somebody to believe it, but some of us do fall for that kind of stuff. Tell your kid they can tell you they are concerned about. Exactly. I always had an open door for my kids, and we had open communication. I sat down with them. That's why we had a close bond, and we played a lot. Got down at their level when they were younger. And it's important to put this kind of stuff to show your kids. Whatever you do, don't go and start fussing at them when they come to you. Like, you should have known better than that. I learned some things over the year, which sometimes I might have done that. Like, why did you do that? Instead of being more compassionate, because this is a growing child learning, right? All sorts of signs are so similar to teenage. That's true. Yeah, the clevers can be. Yeah, he had an income like his house payments were over 2,000 a month. He had a real expensive home, and he worked for the government. He was a engineer. I didn't think he would fall prey, but anyway, I guess we all do fall prey to some things at times. Even I fell prey, and then at least I got smart with it. And said, "I'm not going to trust you anymore." So block, block. I thank y'all so much. I figured that we need to get this out there about the online exploitation since apparently I missed the day when it was exploitation day. That was Tuesday for the whole internet to bring awareness. So please teach your children so they would not become exploited or victimized. Thank you so much and God bless y'all. Well, thank you so much, Cass. I really do appreciate you. God bless you. Thanks everybody that's here too.